big game against the Kansas City Chiefs, and there's nothing short of big news in the Philadelphia Eagles and in the NFL community, as Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator, is up for head coaching interviews, and potentially all the tea leaves are turning towards that he may potentially take the New Orleans Saints job, as I know the Saints really want him, as they declined the rest of the interviews that they were going to do with Mike McCarthy and are focusing solely on Kellen Moore. Now, Kellen Moore is not going to be allowed to take this head coaching job until obviously the season is at an end, but it brings into question a discussion that some Eagle fans have had in the past about other previous coaches who were in head coaching interview conversations, i.e. Jonathan Gannon, the last time we played the Kansas City Chiefs. And now many Eagle fans believe that because of the interview cycle that occurred with John Gannon during the 2022 year, it potentially cost us a Super Bowl against that very team. Now, I agree with a lot of Eagle fans that I believe the defense failed us in that game. I think Jonathan Gannon's scheme that day was pathetic, and it cost us a Super Bowl title, albeit, Jalen Hurts spotted the fumble that gave them 7 points, and our special teams that day was not great. So I guess you can also say that the Philadelphia Eagles on many sides of the ball did not show up, and the Kansas City Chiefs took advantage. However, there's still a belief in the Eagles community that if Jonathan Gannon did not have the interviews with the Arizona Cardinals, that they would be better prepared for that game, and maybe, just maybe, this three-peat conversation with the Kansas City Chiefs would not have occurred. I bring all that up to say this because Kellen Moore, like I said, going for head coaching interviews. Will his head coaching aspirations, will the interviews that he's being asked to do and that they're conducting with Kellen Moore, will it cost the Philadelphia Eagles a Super Bowl title? That's the topic for today's episode. And I'm going to tell you guys, I am not really somebody who likes to make excuses for the Philadelphia Eagles. However, I understand why a lot of fans believe this because, like I mentioned before, when we saw Jonathan Gannon go for head coaching interviews with Arizona during the 2022 year, and you saw the performance that we had in the Super Bowl, it really does put some things into question. And you ask yourself, like, hey, was this really a lack of focus by Jonathan Gannon? Because I am all in agreement that it was a coaching disaster on that day. And Andy Reid, the offensive coordinator of the Kansas City Chiefs, the offensive play designers, all that jazz, the head coach of the Chiefs, ran circles around what was at the time defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon and consultant Vic Fangio. Let's not forget about that topic, right? Ran circles around this coaching staff in that very Super Bowl. So it does ask a fair question. Will it cost us a Super Bowl here? Kellen Moore going for interviews. And we're going to get into that in just a moment. But before we do that, for those of you who don't know, this is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I am your host, Asif Badi. And like you, I'm a Birds fan who talks about the Birds, only the Birds, and nothing but the Philadelphia Eagles. So please do us a favor here. Help us grow this channel by shooting this video a thumbs up, commenting your thoughts on my opinions, and subscribing to the channel so that it helps us get out to as many Eagle fans as much as possible. And it doesn't cost you a damn thing. And I don't know about you, I'm pretty cheap. I like free stuff. So if there's anything that's for free, it's my cup of tea, okay? So help a brother out, hit that like button, and help us support and grow this channel. Now, again, will the head coaching interviews that Kellen Moore is being conducted, or was conducting rather, cost us a Super Bowl? I'm going to tell you, I believe that's a load of bullcrap. And I'm going to tell you why. Because all year long, the Philadelphia Eagles, every fan of the Philadelphia Eagles understood that if there was any modicum of success with this team, especially on the offensive side of the ball, and if we got to the Super Bowl, any remote success in the playoffs especially. So if we got to an NFC title game or we looked great on the offensive end during the playoffs, Kellen Moore was going to get a head coaching job. Okay? That was a fact. That was always going to be the case. Now, I get it. You're really worried about whether or not Kellen Moore is going to be prepared for this Super Bowl game here. And it's a fair point. And I can concede and understand your perspective if you're somebody who believes that Jonathan Gannon lost us the game because of his lack of focus. I will also tell you this. This is football. No excuses, no bullshit. The Philadelphia Eagles, the Kansas City Chiefs, no other team in the position that they are in would give you that very excuse. Because if that's the case, that's incompetence by the head coach. That's incompetence by the organization. That's incompetence by everybody in that locker room for not having any level of focus and blaming an offensive coordinator for trying to pursue higher aspirations in his career. Okay? I don't blame Kellen Moore for taking interviews. If I were in his position, I would be taking those damn interviews too. And I can guarantee you, you as a fan, you as an employee for a company who is trying to pursue a higher gig, a higher paying job, would do the same thing. Now, I get it. If somehow we put out a dud on the offensive end, people are going to go ahead and look at this and say, wow, Kellen Moore did not have a great game plan and he cost us a Super Bowl. Or you could just say the Philadelphia Eagles just did not execute the game plan that they've conducted all year. They've conducted a game plan all year in terms of running the ball, not turning the ball over, and being effective on third and fourth downs, especially if it's third and fourth and short. Okay? So the Philadelphia Eagles have been reliant on this defense. They've been reliant on Vic Fangio. They've been reliant on this running game called by Kellen Moore. And by the ability of the quarterback to not turn the ball over, who again really, really praises Kellen Moore and the offensive system. Despite how anemic it looks at times, it looked pretty damn good in that NFC title game. And it looked like they opened up the playbook a little bit more for Jalen Hurts so that he can go out there and throw the football. And again, if that's the Jalen Hurts we're going to get and we play like that, then the game plan for Kellen Moore is going to be pretty damn simple. Run the ball. Let them commit to 10 in the box. Let them try to go ahead and play man coverage with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert and Jalen Hurts. We all know this now. As much as people want to dismiss it, Jalen Hurts is very capable of throwing against man coverage and being able to gut you. That is not going to be an issue in this game, which is why the excuse that Kellen Moore could potentially lose us a Super Bowl is utter bullcrap. It's why it's not deja vu. This is not a Jonathan Gannon situation. And even then, I don't like using that as an excuse for what happened in that game. He just got outclassed. He just got outcoached. He just got out-schemed by one of the greatest offensive minds the game has ever seen in Andy Reid and what was a prolific offense in the Kansas City Chiefs that year. This year, it's a little bit different. The designs of the team are really, really similar. They have a great to really good defense in Kansas City and Philadelphia Eagles. They have a defensive line that really, really puts the pressure on quarterbacks. They have Chris Jones. We got Jalen Carter. They got Nick Bolton. We got Zach Bond. They have Trent McDuffie. We got Quinyon and Darius Slay and Cooper DeJean. They got players on both sides of the ball. They got Travis Kelce. We got A.J. Brown. We have Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts. They got Patrick Mahomes, Kareem Hunt, and Isaiah Pacheco. They got Xavier Worthy. We got Devontae Smith. So this matchup is going to be an epic, epic game, as much as it is to the chagrin of a lot of people out there who don't want to see Taylor Swift and don't want to see this offense and don't want to see the Chiefs three-peat again and don't want to see them on the Super Bowl field and don't want to see the Philadelphia Eagles go ahead and win a Super Bowl. We get it. But guess what? We don't give a shit. Just like I'm not going to give a shit about people who are going to tell me that if somehow the Philadelphia Eagles lose this game, that it's Kellen Moore's fault, when he is one of the big reasons why the Philadelphia Eagles are in this position in the damn first place. Cut the bullshit. This is not going to be an issue where the fact that he took a half hour to an hour phone call during the fucking week to shoot for higher aspirations is going to cost us a damn game. You realize how ridiculous that sounds. So I want all Eagle fans to understand here, you're not going to have that excuse coming from this channel. Ain't no way we're going to sit here and say, because he took 2-3 hour phone call on Zoom during the week periodically, that all of a sudden it's going to make the difference between us winning and losing this Super Bowl. They're either going to win the Super Bowl because they're better than the Kansas City Chiefs, or they're going to lose the Super Bowl because they didn't play better than the Kansas City Chiefs. It's as simple as that. Football, in that sense, is not complicated. You got one shot. You got 60 minutes to go ahead and right the wrong from 2022. I have faith in this Philadelphia Eagles team, as many of you do. But I am not going to sit here and pony up on the fucking excuse train, because that's what losers do. And despite what the outcome of this game's going to be, whether we win or unfortunately lose the game, because it would be unfortunate if we did. But whatever the result is, ain't no excuses on this fucking channel. Ain't no excuses for this damn team. This team is too talented, too physical, and it's been too damn good to make that the excuse that we decide to go off in the sunset with. Because the last time we were in a Super Bowl, we blamed the field. We blamed the refs. We blamed the coaches. We blamed the fact that they wanted to do an interview. Give me a fucking break. Grow the fuck up. Grow a fucking pair. Nut up and get out on the field and out-execute a team that's been doing it as well or as good as anybody in NFL history. You're potentially playing one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play the game, one of the greatest offensive minds to ever play the game. You have a chance to stop an historic run. You're the team that's willing and ready to do it. Don't let Kellen Moore be the excuse as to why you can't do it. You have players too. You got dogs too. Go out there, get the fucking job done. Hey! Thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles Podcast.